Welcome back, subscribers, and welcome new viewers. Today I'm going to read from my Chiron book again, and this is for all of you who have natal Chiron opposing, conjunct, or squaring your Uranus. Okay, and this is a viewer request, so I also want to thank each and every one of you who likes, shares, and subscribes or has already subscribed to my channel, because that assists all of my videos getting out and circulating to more and more individuals just like you who are needing and seeking this information. So I thank each and every one of you. All right, I'm going to check really quick to make sure my volume is up. I apologize. I should have done that. Okay, it is. All right. Great. Okay. Again, I apologize for that. I should have done that before I started the video. All right. So let's see here. Okay. Chiron in aspect to Uranus. When Chiron aspects an outer planet, it acts as a mediator or bridge, potentially enabling the qualities of the outer planet to be expressed in a powerful way in our life, for good or ill. However, the intense pressure of the aspect could also drive us into preoccupations which widen our horizons too far. We become too concerned with the larger picture, collectively or spiritually, and neglect the demands of our individual life. One way or the other, we will need to come to terms with the powerful collective issues and also the transpersonal consciousness represented by the Chiron aspects. There were about 40 exact Chiron-Uranus oppositions between 1952 and 1989. And this period has been fraught with many typically Uranian trends and events. Since the end of World War II, there has been much social and ideological turmoil. Revolutionary subcultures of all kinds have sprung up in many countries. Terrorism has become widespread. The issue of individual rights has become a focus of controversy, protest, and sometimes militant activity. Minority groups of all kinds have fought for their right to exist and express themselves. The discoveries of the new physics exploded the myth of solid reality, and rejection of materialism led many people to drop out of the established, which is Saturn, mainstream of society. In true Uranian fashion, better options were sought and alternative lifestyles were tried, often based on communal models. Social ferment has ranged from escapism and passive rejection of the system to violent attempts to forge change, overthrow the old order, and challenge prevailing attitudes. And I just want to interject there that Uranus, if you don't already know, is the planet of Aquarius. And Aquarius has everything to do with root truths coming out and communication of all kinds, and compassion for one another, and quick changes also. And I wanted to say, and 1952 to 1989, while we were still still in the Piscean age, even though the Aquarian age was, you could see it in certain technologies and things like that. Now, in 2022, we are definitely in the Aquarius age. And so Uranus is going to be even more so with us now, and making quick changes, and truths are coming out where we didn't know. And I'm talking on a worldwide scale, as also individual scale. Okay. In the individual chart, Chiron in aspect to Uranus often heightens the desire for freedom. Absolutely. I forgot to say that. Absolutely. Aquarius has everything to do with freedom in every way. Okay, heightens the desire for freedom from constraints, especially in relationships. People with this aspect are often super Uranian, apt to make sudden changes and cut off relationships and careers in midstream. They could also be prone to unexpected and often unwelcome events happening to them. They love new ideas and want to try new ways of living, perhaps feeling compelled to break through limitations and to stand out in the crowd. Okay, and I'm going to skip. I'm just going to stay general. This writer does get into particular specific people with their specific charts and planetary alignments. So I'm just going to skip over that. And again, if any of you who want this in writing, a copy of this, just send me an email and let me know, and I can absolutely do that for you. Okay, just a minute here. One feature of the Chiron-Uranus combination is the conviction that anything can be changed. Nothing is sacred, and and traditions may be seen merely as restrictions to be dispensed with. Chiron-Uranus people may indiscriminately rebel against external restrictions, and yet paradoxically be resistant to deep inner change. Okay, that's an important one. I'm going to say that one more time. Chiron-Uranus people may discriminately rebel against external restrictions, and yet paradoxically be resistant to deep inner change. Creative introversion may be difficult, as they are often restless in their search for something new and different. Some have an uncanny ability to incorporate the unexpected without flinching or being thrown off course. They may thrive on change and usually experience plenty of it, whether or not it is consciously sought. They often go out on a limb and courageously try new things, even in the face of ridicule or lack of support from others. And I'm being called to say, too, that some of you listening now that have this, you might want to check and see if you have any other planets or your ascendant in Aquarius as well. Because that means, again, you're more Aquarius and you have that Uranus quick change ability and that Aquarius vision. And you might have your sun in Aquarius too. Sun, moon. However, they might have difficulty admitting to their mistakes. They can also be brittle and inflexible, unable to change course and flow with the tide of necessity. The true creative capacities of people with Chiron Uranus usually come to the fore once they have found and accepted their own internal criteria of limitation and discipline. In other words, when they have a sound relationship with their own Saturnian principle. And also you might want to take a look at your chart and see where Saturn is present in your chart and in what sign, and if you have any harsh aspects, which would be conjunctions, oppositions, or squares to your Saturn. Okay. The urge to improve the world is often strong with Chiron Uranus, and this echoes the story of Prometheus. If we strive too hard for the power of individual choice, freedom, and consciousness, without also paying our respects to the gods from whom we steal, we may suffer the painful inability to manifest anything of our individuality. In other words, of Oceanus, Chiron's father-in-law. O my unhappy friend, throw off your angry mood and seek deliverance from all your suffering. Your plight is the inescapable. Reward Prometheus of a too proud speaking tongue. You still will not be humble, will not yield to pain. You mean to add new sufferings to those you have. You are a far more prudent counselor of others than of yourself. Chiron aspecting Uranus often brings difficulty with authority. However, our rebellion, and indeed our wound, may be an inability to accept a higher authority than our own personal choice. Whether that higher authority is seen as the police, our parents, God, or indeed the demands of our own psychological growth, part of our journey may involve learning to distinguish between an attitude of healthy, creative challenge and a willful, indiscriminate sense of rebelliousness, which perhaps lingers from adolescence. Considerable frustration may result when our Uranian drive for freedom repeatedly causes disaster instead of actualizing the creative change that is hoped for. Our quest will involve finding a way creatively to embody our individuality in life. Some people with Chiron aspecting Uranus take time to reach a workable relationship with the unavoidable Saturnian limitations of life in the world, trying everything possible to avoid bowing down to any kind of authority. Others awaken later on in life to Uranian promptings. Marriages disintegrate. Children are abandoned. New love affairs and new careers are started as these individuals experiment with their newfound urge for freedom. They may be quite unstoppable and go to extremes trying to break through previous limits. Illness may then provide the brakes on the system running out of control. People with Chiron Uranus may be quick to detect hypocrisy in others, but blind to their own hypocrisy. One person, for example, felt so contemptuous of the society in which she grew up that she rejected it entirely and joined a spiritual community isolated from the mainstream of society. Although she had played Uranus as regards the old order, she was unaware that her true individual self was equally imprisoned by the new rules and restrictions which she had taken on. She pursued her new way of life with unflinching zeal and self-righteousness. Those with Chiron Uranus may think freedom is to be attained by rejecting or overthrowing structures out there, seeing the lack of individual freedom as a problem of society. They are perhaps more than most inclined to search for an alternative framework of political, social, or esoteric ideas in which they feel at home. People with Chiron Uranus are very sensitive to collective ideas and susceptible to their influence. They may react emotionally to unconscious ideas, which only lose their charge once the ideas and the emotion are separated. For example, a woman with Chiron opposite Uranus was a clairvoyant by profession, and she dreaded social occasions where she might meet new people. She feared that men in particular would be cynical and contemptuous when they discovered what her profession was. She would become inwardly enraged to such a degree that she herself became hostile, sometimes before any such conversation had occurred. Eventually, she realized that she was in fact reacting to the unconscious collective idea that clairvoyant women are witches, dangerous women who belong on the outskirts of society. She had been making human men the bearers of this wounding idea, not giving them a chance to be different from what she expected. In this way, she was dehumanizing them, as she in turn felt dehumanized by them. Other highly charged Uranian ideas concern individual rights, political beliefs and ideals, social causes, as well as systems of personal growth. If you have Chiron in aspect to Uranus, part of your journey may involve discovering such internalized collective ideas which have a wounding or dehumanizing effect, especially in relationships. It may also be useful to examine critically the attitudes and belief systems, whether religious, social, or political, which formed your mental environment when you were growing up. With a Chiron-Uranus aspect, you may really be struggling for mental freedom. To attain that, however, you may have to work hard to grow beyond these thought structures. Reacting emotionally and rejecting them does not work if previous conditioning has not been dismantled through conscious awareness being focused on it. To go beyond our mental limitations means examining our own thought processes, which demands great discipline. Okay, I just have to fast forward a bit here. Okay, when Chiron and or Uranus activate each other by transit, you may experience extraordinary expansion of mental consciousness, which may be difficult to integrate. At these times, you might see and understand the map of your life and be awed by its organic symmetry. These visions may stay with you throughout the rest of your life and may cause pressure for you to follow or obey what you have seen, and anguish in case you make the wrong decision. Perhaps it would be a useful analogy to compare these Chiron-Uranus visions to the aerial view seen when flying over your life, as in an aeroplane. You cannot stay up there forever, as embodied human life is lived on the earth. Coming down is not really betraying this vision, for the aerial view remains. Part of your journey may be to trust that someone up there, Chiron, aspecting Uranus, is seeing it for you, so you can descend and live your human life knowing that even if you sometimes feel lost, this too is part of the journey. Pure Uranian visions tend to take the form of, if I were a perfect being, I could ... However, Chiron Uranus aspects encourages us to include our imperfections, wounds, and limitations. The gifts of Chiron Uranus include the ability to give birth to the new without indiscriminately rejecting the old, a powerful intuitive sense, a capacity for compassionate detachment from emotionally laden ideas and situations, and a deep understanding of the process of creative thinking. Chiron Uranus expands our thinking beyond the either or attitude to new and more organic ways of thinking. Energy follows thought. It is a well-known principle of esoteric philosophy which Chiron Uranus instinctively understands, knowing that unless our patterns of thought are changed at the very deepest level, wow, which to me is subconscious, unconscious, and if you don't, viewers, that to me astrologically speaks of south nodes, which we have two parts, zodiac sign and house placement sign. And in order to have an accurate house placement sign, you must have an accurate, exact time of birth. Okay. I'm going to read that sentence again. That's big. Energy follows thought. And I'm also going to add from his name is Dr. Joe Dispenza, where I first heard the term from him, thoughts are things. And absolutely. Energy, frequency, that is a thing. Thoughts are things. Okay. Energy follows thought is a well-known principle of esoteric philosophy which Chiron Uranus instinctively understands, knowing that unless our patterns of thoughts are things, are changed at the very deepest level, any change in behavior is but a fragile pantomime that disintegrates under stress. So again, for those of you who don't know, each and every one of us have a south node. And we were given that at birth. And it has everything to do with our natal wheel. And it is put in our subconscious. So we do not know. It is a program. It is an automatic feeling that if we go about life in that specific south nodal way, we're going to get our needs met. And it is not true. But each and every one of us are going to automatically do that because you don't know until you don't even know you have that in your subconscious. You don't know it's a program. We don't know anything until you bring that out into your conscious awareness. So finding out what your nodes of the moon are, zodiac part and house placement part, is crucial. That is each and every one of our personal work in this life. Astrologically speaking, and for those of you that don't know, I'm an astrologer of 26 plus years, and this is what I specialize in, the south nodes of the moon. Okay, so, and one more thing. Any of you who want to know what your nodes are in your natal wheel, the symbol of your south node is an upside down horseshoe. North node is straight across from it, upright horseshoe. Okay. And I'm sure subscribers, you already know, most of you at least already know, if not all of you, what your nodes are already. So thank you for being patient and listening so that I could tell new viewers about that. Okay, so that is all I have for you now. And again, any of you who have any questions concerning this reading or any other reading or anything about your natal wheel, and you would like me to take a look at your wheel or answer any of your questions, please send me an email. You can send me a comment too. I'm not getting all of my comments, so it's safer to send me an email. But I even say, if I don't answer your email, then I didn't get that either. Send me another email or send both a comment and an email. So to thecreativewoman369@gmail.com. And that information and all of my information, any of you who want to take a look at my natal wheel, I freely and openly give all of that, my birth information, in each and every one of my videos, including this one, in the drop-down box below. Okay, that's all I have. All right, until next time. I hope this helped. Okay, bye.